Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to another movie talk with two scoops. Please help me welcome the cast of Black Widow. They're not here. Anyway, we're gonna get right into this thing. This is gonna be a spoiler talk. I won't go into too much detail because it's not really necessary, but there will be some plot points that are made in this video. So if you haven't seen the movie, I suggest that you leave this video and come back when you have and are ready to have a discussion. So anyway, to get right into it, Black Widow, the 24th installment in the MCU, the long-awaited. I believe this movie originally started production back in 2006, so it's been a long time coming, and it finally hit theaters and Disney Plus on July 9th, 2021, and Disney Plus is how I watched it. Did I want to go to a theater? Sure. Didn't feel like it. I've just been tired these last couple of days, so Disney Plus, I paid that premium to see it, put a chair real close to the TV so it felt as close as to a theater experience as possible. Had me a drink and got going. But anyway, we're going to get right into the discussion. So Black Widow, I was really excited to see this movie after seeing Scarlett Johansson portray this character, and I don't even know how many movies up until this point. One of my favorite being Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I thought they did a really good job with portraying her character in that movie. So when I heard that there was going to be a Black Widow movie, much like everyone else, I was very excited. I wanted to see the backstory to this character. I wanted to see her experience in the Red Room and how that made her the character that she is, the hero that she is. And I have to say that overall, I really did enjoy this movie. I thought that the cinematography was beautiful, the color palette. I thought that the acting, the chemistry between Scarlett Johansson and Florence Pugh, that was the sister. I can't remember what her name is in the movie. And David Harbour and Rachel Weisz, I think it's Wise. But anyway, I thought that the chemistry between those main four characters was very strong, and I bought their relationship. I bought them as a family. And without going too much further, I have to say that overall, even though I did enjoy the movie, it was a little bit of a letdown. But I don't think it's through any fault of the movie or the script in itself. I think it's just the time that it came. Because, as I mentioned before, we've already seen Black Widow and a lot of MCU movies, and we've already seen what she can do. We've already seen her skill level. And I think the anticipation for her solo movie was so high that it would have been hard for any director or any screenplay to really do that character justice, in my opinion. And I believe that if it would have came out around the time with most of the other solo entry-level MCU movies, such as Captain America, the first Iron Man, the first Thor, when all of those movies were coming out, I think it would have fit better to come out during that time because the character was still fairly new and we hadn't seen much of her. But like I said, up to this point, we've already seen her so much and we've seen her do so many cool things that this movie, it just had a lot to go up against. And I don't know that it did the best job of displaying the best of Black Widow. That's my opinion. Something that I kind of wished that the movie would have did, which was to go back and actually show Black Widow in the Red Room and how, she was raised up in that environment and how it made her to be the spy that she is. I was very interested to see how she, as it was stated in this movie, was able to keep her heart throughout all of that, because we find out all of these terrible things that they do to the women in this Red Room. And I think that would have been a much more satisfying route for this movie to take. But instead, this movie takes place maybe a couple days after the events of Civil War. And so that's the order that it will fall in. It's somewhere between Civil War and Infinity War. And basically she goes back home and she reunites with her family, and she finds out that she didn't successfully take down the leader of the Red Room. And so that's her mission throughout the movie. And it still does a good job of that plot line, but I think it would have been much stronger had they actually showed us an origin story to Black Widow. And that honestly might be my fault. I try to stay away from previews as much as possible, and I can't remember the last time I saw the teaser when they initially started teasing this movie. So I wasn't entirely sure what direction they were going to go with this movie. I just assumed that they were going to go back and maybe jump forward a little bit. I thought that they would give us just a little bit more of her backstory. Okay, so Kate Shortland directed this movie, and like I said in the beginning of this video, I really did enjoy the cinematography and the overall aesthetic and look of this movie. The only thing that I didn't care too much for were the quick jump cuts when it came to action scenes, and I have nothing against jump cuts. I just think sometimes that they are overused, and if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say jump cut, I mean a quick or rapid succession of scenes that are like put together to elude or give the impression of quick pace action, be it a car chase or a regular fighting scene. I typically prefer most of my action to be in camera, meaning is limited to a few angles, a few different shots, and you basically get to see everything. But in order for those type of scenes, you have to have very tight choreography, and I think that sometimes the case is that they are unable to get that tight choreography, or maybe just because they might be in a rush or something, so they have to settle for a bunch of jump cuts. But it sometimes, when it's used effectively, I like it, but when it's overused or it's used as a crutch, it kind of jars you a little bit. I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, but sometimes it's just hard to follow the action, and you just want to see how one motion leads into the next. And with jump cuts, it's like, I don't want to get too, into it, but it's in the name. It's jump cuts, so you going back and forth from this shot to this shot, and it's just spliced together to look really quick, and it's just jarring sometimes. So I prefer a lot of my action to be in camera. But as far as that goes, I think that was my only discrepancy with the actual directing. I think everything else was done well. I can't think of any other thing that stood out to me from the directing or from the cinematography point of view. Like I said, I think the storyline could have been a little bit better, but what they had to work with, I think the actors did very well. I just don't think that this was the best display of Scarlett Johansson's portrayal of Black Widow. I think we've seen her do much cooler things and be involved in much cooler action sequences than in this movie. And I don't know, it gave me the same type of feeling that I got when I saw the Black Panther movie for the first time. His first appearance in Civil War versus his appearance in his solo movie, I felt like the character took a step down. And I don't think that it was due to the actor. I just think that it was the directing of the movies. I think certain directors just do a better job with action sequences and choreography. And so that's how I felt about this movie. I think it was well put together, but it was lackluster in the end. I enjoyed it, but when it went off, I was left feeling like, I don't know if I got everything that I wanted to get out of this movie. I do think that Scarlett Johansson and Florence Pugh carried this movie for the most part, though. I think that their chemistry was really well, and the banter that they had between one another was really fun to watch. And yeah, I think had this movie just had a slightly different plot, it had potential to be a lot better than it actually ended up being. Honestly, that's not even saying a lot, because we've gotten so used to Marvel movies and their formula, and we've seen so many really good Marvel movies that when one falls just a little bit short of that, it is noticeable. So it's not really a fault against the movie. It's just that we've seen better portrayals of some of these characters, and in the end, it just has a high bar that it's trying to step up to. But those are just my opinions. I would love to hear what you have to say. So if you felt differently about the movie, if you agree, if there's some points that I missed and you saw, let me know in the comments, So if you like this video, hit that like button, share, subscribe. This channel is about to blow up, but you already knew that. And you want to be a part of it. See you next time.